There are some cars that make you wish for a world without stop signs and for roads without end. Cars that aren't so concerned with practicality, much less predictability. They are the rock stars of the car world. Sexy, flashy, larger than life, and bolder than brass. Cars that are like this one right here. Hi, I'm Tommy Kendall, and welcome to Test Drive. Today we're at Road Atlanta with a car that quite possibly has more swagger than Jagger. I'm talking about the 2013 SRT Viper. As you can see, it still has that audacious Viper body style. But what you can't see is that underneath there is more raw power and jaw-dropping performance than ever before. A few details to whet your appetite. An 8.4-liter, 640 horsepower V10 with 600 pound-feet of torque. Lucky for us, we also have a bunch of special guests to help us put the bite on this new SRT Viper, including IndyCar legend Michael Andretti and Wired Magazine's Josh Davis. So buckle up, we've got quite a show for you, and it's all coming up. Now, if you've got your hands on a car that is super light and super fast, it kind of behooves you to find out how super bad it is, which means putting it on a racetrack, which is why we're here at Road Atlanta. Our next guest knows something about charging, one of the all-time hard chargers in IndyCar racing, a legend, as a matter of fact, now a winning team owner, championship winning team owner, and race promoter. Michael, welcome.
Thank you.
It's taken us a while to get you here.
I know, but I'm psyched I'm here.
We're honored. How long's it been since you were at Road Atlanta?
Jesus. I don't know what to say, but it's like 1982 runoffs.
30 years.
Formula Ford, yeah.
The beginning.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's changed a little bit.
A little bit. I'm anxious to get back on it.
Life is good. I mean, you just won 4th title in 10 years in business.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we have a great team. You know, it was just a crazy year for sure, and you know, the whole team did a great job and went down right to the end. There was a bit of a nail biter there in the end, and Ryan came through for us, so it was awesome.
Now, Ryan Hunter-Reay, who's my teammate in the Vipers, has been like, he seems like he's been a catalyst to your organization.
He's totally come to his own. You know, he's at that perfect age. You know, he's right around 30, 31, and you know, he's got a lot of experience under him, and he still's got that charge in him, and he's at the perfect age, and it's all coming together for him.
When you were driving, did you ever think you would be a team owner and a race promoter?
Hell no. Jeez, yeah, no, but I gotta say, it's been fun.
Now, switching gears to the Viper, have you driven any of the prior generations?
I have, you know, I've driven actually on a road course too in Laguna Seca. I drove it's probably back in about, you know, end of the 90s sometime.
Okay.
So,
I mean, what were your impressions of that car? That's obviously going back a ways.
yeah, it was a while ago. It was, it felt a little heavy and a little clumsy. So I'm hearing that they've really improved that side of it. So I can't wait to get it.
Well, here it is, folks. 60 Minutes couldn't do it, but the mega behemoth Test Drive gets Michael Andretti back behind the wheel. We're looking forward to it. We've selected red for you.
I like it.
Let's try them on.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
All right.
Up next, we've got racing legend Michael Andretti at Road Atlanta. Oh no, I'm like all the guys you raced. I'm fearing the guy in my mirror. Here it comes, here it comes. Don't go away. Welcome back to Test Drive. We're at Road Atlanta with racing icon Michael Andretti and the 2013 SRT Viper.
I'm really impressed with how this car goes in the slow corners.
Yeah.
Really is quite good.
Just overall grip?
Yep, overall grip and balance.
Now, they worked pretty hard on the steering. Do you feel like it has adequate feedback?
And I think that does work. The only thing is in the fast corners, it's a tad quick for my liking. You have to be really careful.
Slow your hands
turning.
down. Yep,
Yep.
I tend to agree. Now, 0 to 60, we haven't even talked about that. 0 to 60 in this car is, I mean, they say mid to low threes. It's 3.4 is the number I've heard from some of the people testing, which is getting with the program.
This thing definitely gets with the program. It's got good power.
I mean, once it gets over
great
that
torque too.
With these kind of power numbers, I mean, put that into perspective. 640 horsepower, 600, foot-pounds of torque. How much horsepower did the last generation normally aspirated IndyCar have?
Right about the same. I think it was around 650 horsepower.
Probably not 600 foot-pounds of torque though, huh?
Exactly. You can feel the torque right there. I missed my gear, and it was no big deal.
We're going 120, the thing is still pulling like nobody's business. I mean, it gets to 140 like that. And then started all going the other way. Well, now this whole corner wasn't here before, but it's a real test of the brakes.
Big time.
And the track package has big brakes, huge brakes, and it's got those compound, the billet aluminum hats.
I mean, you're not even worried about the brakes, which is amazing. When you're, driving as hard as we're driving right now, there's still the pedals staying with you. Just pretty impressive, I think.
Now, you've seen the car from both angles, me in the mirror looking back, and then also from behind. What do you think of the styling?
Beautiful car. I think they did a great job. They still kept the original design, but they just, again, refined it, and I think they did a really good job.
Made it modern.
Made it modern, exactly.
Those rear tires are just huge. Another thing they did, weight has been a key focus on this car. The whole car, the overall package with the track package is over 150 pounds lighter. You got 57 pounds off with the forged wheels and the brakes. And believe it or not, the Pirelli Corsa tires that come on the track pack are actually lighter, the little thinner carcass and so forth. And then things like carbon fiber in the roof, carbon hood, carbon deck lid. It's got a magnesium dash panel behind it to add stiffness across the car.
It's all about refinement, really. There's no more silver bullet. It's all just making the best of every little aspect of the car.
I'm getting excited. I want one of these things.
Me too.
See if I can't get the back out a little bit here.
I'm really impressed with how this car goes.
You're number 3 all-time in both, laps led and wins. If it wasn't for another guy named Andretti, you'd be number 2. You got to be pretty proud of that.
I always wanted them to worry when they saw me in the mirror.
Well, I'll tell you what, you were like an attack dog that was let off the chain. I mean, literally, you had one speed, and it was always going forward. Oh no, I'm like all the guys you raced. I'm fearing the guy in my mirror. Here it comes.
Here it comes. The other thing I like about it is the seats feel really good.
This is one of the few cars that's got a fully adjustable seat, which you would expect. The steering wheel tilts, but it also has sliding pedals. So I mean, literally, the range of positions is unmatched.
Yes, and that's important because there's so many different body types, so it's nice that you can actually move the pedals.
Believe it or not, our race car actually has the sliding pedals as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, no, they said, well, hey, the production car has it, so we're going to take advantage of that. Both of these are GTSs, which is the higher trim level. Basically, the SRT has two additional modes. The base model has either full-on stability control and full-off, whereas this one has a couple different ones. If you push the button, and it's cool, it's one of the, it might be the only car, it's one of the few for sure that has the stability control button on the steering wheel, which seems logical, it's where it should be instead of having to hunt around for it. But you can just put it on a reduced level, and then you can go another further, which turns traction off completely. And then you can, if you're really brave, you can switch everything off, full off, which with this kind of power, I'll tell you what, I'm not feeling like it's cutting down on my fun and leaving it on the reduced level.
Yeah, I agree with you.
We've been doing the show for a long time, but I guess I should state the obvious. I'm glad you guys are watching because 11 years later, we're still doing it, and the guests keep getting better. Thanks for coming out and joining us, Michael. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. It was a blast.
Stay right there. We'll be right back with more SRT Viper and the Viper GTSR racing at MidOhio. Well, here I am in the MidOhio infield for the ALMS GT weekend. and I'm wearing multiple shirts. I'm not just hosting a test drive, I'm also racing the Viper GTSR. But this is a great illustration with the cars side by side on some of the things that have carried over to the race car and vice versa. You'll notice everything on this car in terms of scoops and so forth is there for a reason, and it's obvious when you see it on the race car. The exhaust for the venting of the front hood, same thing here. The air intake, brake ducts on both, very, very similar. There's actually a functional brake duct on the B-pillar of the road car and the race car. That's a known high pressure area. You want to locate the ducts where the highest pressure to get the maximum airflow. That's where the rear brake duct is. Things like the roof bubble, little extra headroom for clearance, something I certainly appreciate. Side exhaust. Not only does it sound cool, the shorter exhaust length, a little bit less weight. The styling's just a little bit more of everything on the race car, a sexy, sexy car. Ralph Gilles said that the inspiration for the new Viper was actually Halle Berry. So there you have an overview where you can see exactly how similar the road car and the race car are. While the car was getting prepped for today's race, we talked with the president and CEO of SRT, Ralph Gilles.
So one of the reasons we're in this form of racing is, it's in our namesake, street and racing technology. And a lot of the technologies you see here, carbon fibers, Kevlars, lightweight magnesiums, are now in the street car. The entire body, virtually the entire body of the new Viper is made of carbon fiber and reinforced carbon fiber. Some areas we have hot formed aluminum. We've got some pretty exotic materials that have come straight for our racing program. So it's very exciting to see that technology raining down to the consumer and making the car better for it. The minute we set out to create the race car, I put the exact same design team together with the racing team to work on what the race car would look like, would be like, because we realize it's an exercise of form follows function to the letter, right? So that's exactly what we did. All the changes were done for functional reasons, but then smoothed over with a design sense, so that the race car looks every bit as good, if not better, than the street car. It's one of the things we like about ALMS racing. It shadows basically the market. I mean, you got some of the best brands in the world in this series. We'd love to go head-to-head with them. And as our brand is evolving, we actually market against them now. We have a world-class vehicle to talk about, so I think being in this form of racing makes a lot of sense again. Years ago, we got written out of the rules a little bit. Our engine was simply too big. We had a great relationship with the ACO over the last 2.5 years, really talking about how we could bring the Viper back, and a lot of that had to do with taming its power, restricting it. And we found an elegant way to restrict the car. It's very simple, just 2 restrictors in the intake track, and it's working. An interesting fact that the street car actually has more horsepower than the race car. It's 640 versus 458.
Stick around, we'll be right back with more SRT Viper and more Viper GTSR racing at MidOhio. Welcome back to our test drive of the 2013 SRT Viper. We're at MidOhio Raceway with the SRT Viper GTSR race car, where I'm wrapping up the final preparations for the race.
Well, here I am getting suited up for my first race back. It's been 15 years since I laced him up as a factory race car driver. So it's been a long wait, and Viper's been away for a while too. So there's a lot of excitement, anticipation, fair bit of nerves, but the right balance of that is exactly what drives us. We're going to be competing against Porsche, BMW, Corvette, and Ferrari out there on the racetrack, and that's exactly who Viper has their sights set on in the marketplace as well. So it's time for Viper and TK to go back to racing.
Well, it was wild at the start. I mean, everybody was bunched up. It was too wide. It took a long time to sort out. And I think MidOhio actually suits this car pretty well right now relative. Elkhart would probably be a little bit more of a struggle for us. First time running on a full tank of fuel and sticker tires. I felt pretty good when the yellow came out as far as finishing my full stint. But strategy-wise, right there, the right thing to do is you got to top it up. And to go another full tank from there would have been iffy for me.
I know Tommy from back in the time. He was very famous in racing, and when I watched the American racing, he was one of the top riders there, and he's a great character and a good race car driver. So now we're teammates in this series, and it's good to have him in the team because he brings a lot of experience into the whole program, and dynamic youth, and experienced old people.
Well, it's nice to get this one out of the way, to get our first competitive laps in. And, our number one goal is to finish this race, get as many laps as we can. So far, so good.
The day was a big success for SRT in the debut of the 2013 Viper GTSR. Both race cars finished the race, and we were able to crack the top 10. A great way to return to world-class sports car racing and debut the 2013 SRT Viper.
Well, we've been to the racetrack. Let's go hop back in the GTS road car for a little bit. Stick around.
When we return, Joshua Davis takes a spin around the streets of Los Angeles in the 2013 SRT Viper.
I've never seen a car that shows you the instantaneous horsepower.
Stay close.
Welcome back to our test drive of the 2013 SRT Viper. We're in downtown Los Angeles, more specifically, the art district of downtown LA. 10 years ago, people would have questioned your sanity standing right here. That wall would have been considered defaced. Now, it's celebrated as art. In much the same way, if you looked at the Viper and thought it was like its old predecessor, you'd think big horsepower brute. With 640 horsepower, it is a bit brutish, but that is only part of the equation. Creature comforts and high technology make this a whole new animal. Here to talk to us about the technology is our next guest. Josh, familiar face here on Test Drive, welcome back. Contributing editor for Wired Magazine, your life revolves or is immersed in technology. Street and racing technology is what SRT stands for. How do those two mix?
Well, I think there's two things going on. There's one, it's what's going on under the hood. It's a brute. It's not supposed to have refinement, and yet it does. It has the 3G connectivity. It has apps. It has anti-lock brakes. It never had that before. So it's a different kind of beast.
They're both about enhancing your experience, though, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. Inside the car, you want to talk to the car. You want it to recognize your voice. You want it to sync up to your phone. And cars that don't do that aren't going to get bought.
As I'm standing in front of this wall of graffiti where there's a zillion different ideas of art or what that artist was feeling that day, I'm struck by everyone's unique in what they like and what they think. This car is no different. 150,000 different combinations of features available. How important is that?
I think people want customization. I think they want to individualize their car. It looks cool on the outside, but if you can change the inside and make it your own, that's fun.
The Renaissance supercar.
That's it.
Well, there's plenty to see in downtown LA. Let's see how this works in the real world. Let's get you in the car and have you drive and see how that technology helps you out.
Let's do it. The buildings in downtown LA have really become quite amazing. You've got Disney Concert Hall, you've got this Caltrans building, right next to this old church. It's this kind of renovation or rejuvenation even of the downtown area, kind of like the rejuvenation of this car. So one of the things that I follow as a tech journalist and somebody who pays particular attention to the automotive space is we're kind of in the birth of automotive apps and this interface that we have here. So the Viper now has Chrysler's Uconnect interface here, and one of the things it has is a 3D mapping system. So you're not looking at it from a bird's eye point of view, you're actually at kind of a 45-degree angle, and it gives you also kind of the topographical elements. So part of what Uconnect does is it allows you to receive and send text verbally, and it's all hands-free. Another interesting element about the interface is that it does some things that are very intelligent. I'm listening, for instance, to the radio, and the phone rings. I take the call, and now I've missed the radio program. Say it's a talk show. I get off the call. The interface has recorded the show, so that when I get off the phone, I can just rewind and start right where I left off. It kind of, it's like a DVR. Another element of the Sirius radio that's kind of cool is that you can favorite things that you're listening to. So say you're listening to the Dodgers. Here we are in LA. You favorite the Dodgers, and the next time the Dodgers are playing and the game is being broadcast, it'll prompt you. A little thing will come up and say, Dodgers playing. You want to listen? And you can say yes, and then there you go. You listen to the Dodgers. I've never seen a car that shows you the instantaneous horsepower. So now, we're getting it up to 200 horsepower right there. That's pretty fun. And then I let my foot off the gas and it goes to 0. So the only other car that I've heard of that has it is the Bugatti Veyron, and that would put this car in a pretty rarefied class. It does have a lot on the inside. You know, it's got leather everywhere with this white stitching, which is pretty cool. They talk about using the same leather quality that Bentley uses. And the seats are made by the same manufacturer that makes Ferrari seats. So they're definitely trying to up their class level here. The Viper has a reputation for being this unrefined brute, and you can still hear the brute. But now it's encased in fine leather, fine gadgetry, and a lot of the type of things that you come to expect from a luxury car now. Which hey, it may disappoint some of the die-hard Viper fans, but at the same time, I think it's going to open up the market for people who never would have expected this from a Viper.
The latest in a long line of Vipers, the 5th generation SRT Viper, maintains its legacy of outright performance while incorporating superior craftsmanship and a host of new technologies. It's got a bigger engine, beefier brakes, a lighter weight, and a stiffer chassis. It's more comfortable, more capable, and more agile. And with 640 horsepower and 600 pound-feet of torque, it's jaw-droppingly fast. All new from top to bottom, incredibly beautiful inside and out. The 2013 Viper continues the brand's reign as the undeniable standard bearer for SRT and reasserts its place at the head table in the world of high-performance cars. It's a Viper for a new generation, and it's about to spike your adrenaline with a little venom. Thanks for joining us. I'm Tommy Kendall. See you next time.